Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! It is time for Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for September 2022, the all-terrain contest. That's right, so for September's theme, Fran Mendoza over at Camsel Designs challenged you all with making a car or vehicle that could go across multiple terrain types. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a car that can fly in the sky and drive on the road and swim in the sea like a boat. That's right, it has to be a vehicle that can make its way across or over or through either air, land or sea, and just to sort of clarify this, be able to go through at least two of those, right? So it could be a car that drives on the road but then flies like a plane, or maybe it's a car that drives on the road and then goes into the ocean like a boat or a submarine, or a plane that transforms into a submarine. You get the idea, right? And that covers everything. So something that can tunnel underground and then shoot off up into space, or go back in time into the apocalyptic 80s and then drive on apocalyptic tarmac roads. This is not an all-terrain challenge where, oh, it's a car that can go rugged terrain like hills and mountains and then drive on a tarmac road. Ooh, so exciting. No, boring. It's got to be able to fly, or it's got to be a boat, or it's got to be able to go back in time or go into the future. So that was the theme. Now, what was the prizes for this month? So Fran, in his infinite generosity, as always, as one of our prized sponsors of this competition from its inception, is offering prizes for first, second and third place, with first place winning a £30 store credit to the Camsels Design website. And that's a whole lot of cool bits. If you've not seen Camsel Design parts, then you know you're missing out, my friend. In second place, £20 worth of store credit for their website, and in third place, £10. So £60 worth of value from one of our very generous sponsors. So with that said, let's look at everyone who finished this month. So we have from the top, Andrew Ferber, Arise Lightspear, Braden Wachtel, Carla Reynolds, Chris Scott, Daniel Mumford, Darren Phillips, Ed KRAJEWSKI,
KRAJEWSKI.
I don't know, Ed. Fred Hoyt Isley, Hardo Pius, James Hall, John Martin, Keith McAvoy, Kev Williams, Matt Morrill, Matt Taylor, Michael Dunmeyer, Mick Van VIJVEN, Molinaro Dominique, Nick Kitch, Richard Hubbard, Troy Moss, William Burke, and of course, Zach Steiner. And just before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, can we just pour one out for the two unfortunate souls who finished and submitted their entries late to the competition? That's right, I know September caught everyone off guard. We all thought, oh yeah, this will be a nice long month, it'll be 4 weeks. And it wasn't. The competition ended on Sunday the 25th of September, catching us all with our trousers down. Well, Stephen Chan, my friend, you submitted your entry an hour late, 53 minutes after midnight. It hurts because it's such a cool build. I love the intricate work and detail you've pulled off here, but we can't count it because you submitted it late. If you just submitted it an hour earlier, just minutes before midnight UK time, we could have accepted it, but you didn't. You're late, and here we are. So please, Stephen, I love this work. It looks so good. What a contender. The rockets, the metal work. It's to die for. But it's an hour late, so we can't count it, my friend. Tim Sajastad. Tim, look, mate, I know that the competition caught us all unaware, but Sunday the 2nd of October is a full 7 days after the deadline. But I get. It's too late. But what a build! I am a sucker for a submarine with tank tracks. What an absolute banger! And I do look forward to seeing what you come up with in October's competition. And on the back of that, let's have a look at the wooden spoon winner for this month. Now, Ed KRAJEWSKI, Ed, I love you, my friend, but you said it yourself, like it's not the best build. We all get the reference. This is Clarkson's, Channel Crossing Nissan, but oh boy, the conversion itself, like the guns, the barrels, the rear motor, it's not bad. They're functional, but the paint job is it's a bit mucky, it's a bit thick, and it's a bit rough around the edges. The rust works okay, to be fair. I like the brown patches, but there's a lot of other areas here that need a lot of loving, and mate, mate, it's not the best. Thank you for entering, Ed. It's a brave first entrant. But for this month, it gets the wooden spoon. Alright, so let's start this month off with a bang, boys and girls. I always leave myself till last, but this month, let's talk about mine first. That's right. It's time for the ego parade. All hail James Hall, king of the Wasteland. Oh, man. So, yeah, air, land, and sea. I mean, I tried to sort of blag that this thing can. Well, it's got the wings to fly like a plane, right? It's got the wheels so it can drive on a road. I try and blag like the little small fins up front could act like little kind of like hydrofoil, so it could like navigate on water or maybe like maneuver once it's in the sea like a submarine. But no, it's basically air and land, isn't it? I don't know, the colouring, the orange, the black, the white, it's meant to sort of tie into that sort of action man aesthetic. If any of you guys ever watched like Atom back in the day, you'll know what I'm on about. It's a very modern look, but at the same time it's a little bit retro 2000s. And when in doubt, just chuck a blood splat on there. So this is kind of like the bar I wanted to see for this month. Well, that's what I'm doing when I'm taking part in this contest, isn't it? I'm setting the bar for you guys to follow or beat. And what can I say? We've had some solid contenders this month. Speaking of which, if I'm talking about flying cars, how can I not talk about Darren Phillips's entry? Oh, sweet baby, what a build and what a paint job. So whereas mine, the mechanism is incredibly crude, just snap off the flying part and push the wheels in, Darren, you engineering whiz, I love it. I love the fact that the wings actually retract into the body. I love the fact that the front bumper and the rear spoiler actually they both fold down to create the aerofoil, to create the illusion of this thing actually working on the ocean. This is such a solid build, my friend. The paint job is fantastic. The figures are to die for, and you even put my name on a missile, boys and girls, so you know he's coming for me. Fantastic. What an entry. And then after Darren Phillips, we have, of course, CARLA Reynolds' flying car. Oh yes, for a first time entrant to the competition, right? I think it might be a second try. What a solidly executed build. Now, I'm very much in the bases not included on cars club, right? I prefer my cars to be on the ground, thank you very much. But it makes sense here, right? This makes a lot of sense. As a hovering flying car, I get it. The base texture itself very much just looks like some rocks that have been painted grey, and that gets me. It's dangerously close to gravel, so you might want to change that. But the actual car itself, the build, there's no transforming element, so to speak, but you can kind of imagine how those sort of propulsion engines on the sides where the wheels are, they would sort of fold back in and become wheels. Like it makes sense. You can visually look at this and get it. But what an absolute fantastic build. Love it. Can't wait to see what you do next month. And then after Carla, we have Chris Scott's entry. Ooh, and here we go with the complete other end of the spectrum. A hover car, quite literally a hover car, a Da Vinci inspired hover car. My goodness, the giant donut that it sort of sat on. And I want to say, is that a cardboard base that you sort of originally built up from? Because you've painted it to look like corrugated sort of steel that's rusted a bit. And it does work. It does work, to be fair. The little chain skirt all around it, the nice little touches, like the little guys driving it, the canvas material for the Da Vinci kind of component, they just looks rough, like it's just paper with some lines painted on it, and I'd like to see a bit more sort of texture there. Is it? It's actually a drill bit that you glued them to. That's a drill bit. That's the first time I've seen someone do that in this contest. Oh, mate. The hazard stripes on the back are a bit rough, but in terms of creativity, man, what a build. It's just tightening up on the execution now, alright? It's just fine-tuning that paint job. And then we have Mick van VIJVEN's entry. Yes, so if we've just had one end of the crazy creative spectrum, here is the other. So, beautifully executed as always. However, I have to say I disapprove of the fact that you claim it goes in 3 different forms of terrain, like the blimp configuration, the submarine configuration, and then the rocket configuration just by making it point up. Like, I feel like that's a bit of a cop-out. Like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, come on, Mick. For a Car of the Month competition, I want to see some wheels on there, you know what I mean? You got a good track record of making vehicles without wheels, from gigantic walkers to that alligator thing you were making last month. Come on, Mick. Come back to us, brother. Come back to the tyres and the tarmac. And then following off the back of Mick, if we want strange and esoteric designs, how can you go wrong with Molinaro, Dominique? Ah, my friend, mon ami. This subterranean squid-like creature. Ah, it's definitely Wasteland. It's definitely returning to its roots. It's colourful, but it's not as acid trip inducing as as previously. So I'm glad you toned it down. I love that drill. I love the use of components to make that drill, from actual drill bits to bottle tops and tank tracks. Fantastic use of parts, my friend. Absolutely fantastic. I was left initially sort of scratching my head about the sort of 2 rows of like chainsaw blades on top, but I'm guessing as it's digging the tunnel, they're to help it move forwards. So that, you know, that makes sense to me. And then of course the giant squid-like assembly to sort of capture and entangle other vehicles and then drag them into the little spinning propeller. Yeah. Oh, what a build. Your rust, you see, this is the thing, Molinaro, when you tone down the strange and surreal and you focus on your Wasteland rustwork, it is to die for. It is to head over heels, knock yourself out and fall down the stairs to die for. Look at that combination of mud and rust textures and chipped paint and the glow effect from the windows and the lights. Ah, be still, my beating heart. And then coming from Molinaro, we have, of course, Fred Hoyt ILSLEY's entry, which, my goodness, for a first time entering the competition, what an absolute banger of a build. I love it. I love the converting aspect. I love the fact that you made this mechanism so it looks like almost like a quadcopter with these hover/blade assemblies that could lift it off the ground. This has the all, you know, air, land and sea kind of feel to it because it's got that front prow like a ship with a harpoon, and at the same time it's got that wonderful jet engine rear, which, yeah, I know that feeling. It's so hard to get it to feel like it would actually look like it could just shoot like a rocket and take off into the air or go into space and the upper atmosphere. Like, what a build. I think for me, what lets this down is because the paint job is beautiful. Like the illusion of, because those actual like quadcopter blades, they're just flat plastic. You've painted all that detail on there, but you see that from a distance. It looks genuine. It looks like there's depth to it, which is brilliant. What lets it down for me is some of those 3D printed parts. The layer lines are so thick and visible that it's like, maybe a bit of sanding, maybe a bit of filing down could have helped. But man, for one of your first entries into this competition, what a solid build, what a solid contender. Very nicely done. And then, of course, we have John Martin's entry, who, what can I say, he's taken a page out of December's competition more often than not, because look at this nuclear winter themed build with Chinook-like qualities. Is that did you just stick a fuse to the top of this and paint a fuse to look like some sort of plasma engine? Because that's pretty rad. That's pretty wild. The helicopter blades, I think, work more as wings than they do as actual helicopter blades. And that's fine, because I get the feeling this is getting propulsion from elsewhere. I really want to see more of the back, because besides the sort of upward exhausts, I can't really get a feeling of what's propelling it from the bottom. So maybe this is more like a cliff jumper kind of vehicle. I think the yellow paint job could use a bit of a touch-up. That's a bit thick in areas. The actual build and styling, spot on, very nicely done. Maybe it's just a case of adding like a decal or something. I do look for, if this is what you're doing now in September, I look forward to see what you do in December, my friend, because it looks like the Christmas winter themed builds are right up your alley. And then, of course, we have TROIE Moss, or TROIE Moss. And this is a nice sort of first entry kind of build. Like, I love the use of 3 of the exact same bus to create this sort of almost grasshopper, locust kind of looking creature with its little bug-like legs. It gets me that you left the detail on the front of the little bicycle because it's a little out of scale. It looks a little bit off, but at the same time you've added quite nice little insectoid features like the legs, but also like the little antennae looking section on top of the fuel drums. I think for me it's just tightening up that paint job, because it's very much a spray black, dry brush brown, slap on some silver and it's done. And this is the thing, when you get to the higher levels of this competition, that doesn't fly, my friend. You gotta go in. Like the bike on the front is a single layer of white and yellow, and you don't actually go around. You look at the casting of that bike, it's 3-dimensional. There is depth there, and you need to be doing that with your paint job. But no, for a first time entrant, very nicely done, TROIE. And then finally, on the back of our helicopter builds, we have, of course, William Burke's entry. Oh, William, what a solid entry for this month. It's so strange, but it's so Wasteland. I love it. I absolutely love it. This Willis Jeep looking vehicle with fuel drums stuck to the side of it to keep it from sinking if it goes in the water, and an enormous helicopter assembly just stuck on the back of it to drag it into the air. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I like the wave pattern that you've painted on the front of the ram there. I think I know a certain person that you may have taken inspiration from, if I may say so myself. But no, it's an absolutely brilliant entry. The painting on the figure is actually surprisingly well done. Like, I like the level of detail. I like the little mask that he's wearing, because that's a fun little thing that we don't see too often. I wish that the green of the body of the truck was, I don't know, maybe not so dark, because it feels really kind of muted compared to everything else. I don't know, maybe like a panel or section, like maybe one of the wheel arches, just having that be a different colour, like a relatively bright orange, like a rusty panel that's been replaced. Just something to break up the olive tones. But no. Fantastic entry, William, and I look forward to seeing what you do in, of course, October's competition. But that said, we need to move on to the main show, boys and girls. That's right, it's time to announce the winners of September's competition. So, without any further ado, start that drum roll, boys and girls, because the winner of Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for September 2022 is DARREN PHILLIPS! Yes, come on down, Darren. Let's see what you won. A £30 gift certificate is on its way to you as we speak. Congratulations, my friend. Oh, for a transforming, transmogrifying, absolutely translucent build. It is positively thrilling. What have I not already said? It's fantastic. I love it. It absolutely nails the theme of this month. It was unanimous, or virtually unanimous, amongst the admin team that this was the winner from this month. The shipping work is absolutely divine. The passengers are detailed to perfection. The little additions, like that little energy cannon on the front of the hood there, it's just so nicely done. And the paintwork, those straight lines on the arrows and the wings on the front stripe, it's so good. Absolutely masterfully done. Well done, DARREN PHILLIPS. But then, who do we have in second place? Well, I can tell you right now, boys and girls, the second place winner for this month is returning fan favourite and heavyweight champion. That's right, boys and girls, it's Molinaro Dominique. Yes, my friend, a £20 gift certificate is on its way to you as we speak. What have I not already said about this build? It's so good. And you see, Molinaro, if you just pull back that wonderful insanity just a little bit, if you just rein it in enough, you get some absolutely breathtaking works of art that you're capable of. Again, that rust work is to die for. That is top shelf rust work, and all the little creative touches, like the drill, like the tracks. Like we've even talked about, this is a half-track vehicle, and those are custom tracks. You can't just buy that off the shelf. Those are Hot Wheels and Matchbox wheels with actual tank tracks wrapped around them. What a technique! And any of us could do this, but we don't. That's the thing. You show us what we should be doing, and that is the drive that we love about you, Molinaro. So congratulations, a £20 gift voucher is on its way to you. And finally, in third place, we have that absolute terror of the high seas, Nick Kitch's entry. Oh my goodness, yes, what an absolute banger. One of the personal favourites of this month's sponsor. What can I say? The lettering of the giant kill on the ram there is absolutely brilliant. The use of bits and a healthy smattering of 3D printed parts is always a fun thing to see. And all around, it's just a solid build. Now, I don't know about you, but I get the feeling this isn't flying so much as it is blasting through the dirty salt waves of the murky radioactive brine. I love the enormous number 8 ball sort of gear stick you've got there. That's a bit wild, isn't it? Very nicely done, Nick Kitch. A £10 voucher is on its way to you. And there you have it, boys and girls. Another month done. Another month closer to the end of this year, because as we speak, the days of October are slowly ticking us by. That's right, you guys, you got to get your entries in. Come on. Before you know it, October will be here, and we'll be looking at a brand new sponsor for the competition. So, thank you all for watching again, boys and girls, and I will see you all in October's Car of the Month competition. Thank you and goodbye.